This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. We are live from the Bud Light Hotel, although this is taped. So I guess we're taped live. Bud Light Hotel on the Hudson River. It's a cruise ship. And I'm here with Drew Brees. We have Joel McHale and Aaron Andrews coming up later. Drew Brees here now. How are you?
I'm very well. I can't believe we're on a cruise ship.
Are you deep down rooting for Seattle to win because then you can say you lost to the Super Bowl champs? How does that work?
No. I think you look at the team. Maybe if you have some friends, former teammates, stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of first and foremost. There's always a bit of a bitter feeling. You know? I mean, Seattle is a great team, and hey, listen, we went up there and we lost to them twice, and listen, they beat us fair and square, but you sit there and go, man, that should be us, but
right.
You can't cry over spilt milk. They deserve to be here. Denver had a heck of a season. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing this game. I'm a fan of the game, so throughout the week, I love during the season, I love watching the primetime games. I love watching the big matchups. Have relationships with guys throughout the league, so you're rooting for certain guys, and in this game in particular, everybody's asked me to make a prediction, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't root against either of these quarterbacks. Got so much respect for Peyton Manning, and I love Russell Wilson. I love what he stands for. I love what he's been able to accomplish in his first 2 years. I think he's got a bright future, so I just look forward to watching these guys play.
It sounds like you need to illegally gamble on the game to have a rooting interest, because it sounds like you're just torn in too many directions. I know you're not allowed, unfortunately. The whole old teammates thing.
Yeah.
The old teammates thing seems like it's a real thing, because Kaepernick was on here yesterday. He said the same thing. He's like, I'm rooting for Denver because I got two Nevada guys in that team.
Yeah.
I never really realized that was like kind of the number one driving interest for rooting.
Yeah, we actually had a stretch. I went to Purdue University, which you wouldn't say is known as a football powerhouse, although we've had our share of success, here over the last 10 years. But there was a stretch there. We had like 8 consecutive Super Bowl champions, teams with guys from Purdue. So all these Purdue guys were getting rings.
You started to feel a little incompetent?
What?
Were you jealous?
I was one of them.
Oh, you had that in the middle?
Yeah, I was part of that.
So you were part of the run?
I was part of the run. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So, but along the way, you're rooting for, hey, well, if we can't be in it, then I'm going to root for the team that's got the Purdue guys on it, so that we can continue to build the tradition.
I thought you were saying they were all winning the rings and you started to feel inadequate, but then you got yours.
Well, I probably did feel inadequate until we got there and I got one.
It's funny with quarterbacks, though. And I remember Elway, I thought, was one of the 2 best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life when I was growing up, obviously, going through college. But he never won a ring, and it was always brought up with him and Marino. I'm a Patriot fan. Those guys used to just kill us. Elway finally wins the ring. He wins 2. It just goes away.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Right.
Then Marino and Charles Barkley, things like that, it's one of the first things that people mention every time they bring up their careers. You got it out of the way. Let's say you hadn't won, what was it, 2010?
9 season.
9. I never figured out the 9 versus 10.
Yeah, I know.
Do you call that the 09 Saints or the 2010 Saints?
No, 09.
09, okay. Saints. So let's say you didn't win. Now you're hitting the later part of your career pretty soon. Would you feel like legitimate tension? To not do that? Do people think about that?
I think there would be pressure.
Yeah.
Maybe added pressure. But I'll say this, it's almost, there's a curse in winning it too, because then that's all you think about, because you know what it felt like. You know how good it felt, and you want to feel it again. And so when you don't make it, it almost makes it that much worse. But I feel blessed to have had that opportunity, and hopefully I can play this game for a long time. Hopefully I will have more chances. You can't play football forever, though, so time is of the essence. But I feel like we got the pieces in place, so I'm excited about our future with the Saints. And for me personally, it's what keeps you hungry. It's what keeps you motivated, just knowing that feeling and how you want to feel it again.
So it's almost like winning that title. It's like flying first class in an airplane for the first time.
Well, once
you
just
do
had
no idea. You're like, oh, wow.
Right.
This is amazing.
Or
I can't go back to coach.
When your 3-year-old discovers candy. And that's all they want.
Oh, my God.
Right.
Do you have a relationship with Manning?
Yeah. I know Peyton.
Because all the quarterbacks it seems like it's this little weird club. You guys are all bonded by how hard that job is.
I would say yes, and I would also say, though, there's a competitive aspect to it all. I'd say there's an admiration. Every Monday after, we play Sunday, you queue up, a lot of the games of the guys that you watch and, look up to, and maybe their offenses you're even trying to kind of steal some stuff from, and so you're watching and you're admiring throughout the week as you're watching cut-ups and stuff, just, oh, man, did you see that throw? Did you see that read? Did you see, whatever it might be. And so there's that. And then, man, when you get the chance to play those guys, it kind of kicks it up a notch. I mean, we can sit here and say that, every game is the same and your preparation is and everything. But, like, when you're stepping on the field and Peyton Manning's on the other side or Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, or one of these guys, you just know that, man, I got to be my absolute best today. I've got to be as sharp as I can be, because those mistakes are magnified now in a game where you know that you got a guy like that on the other side that'll take advantage of them. And you beat Peyton in the Super Bowl. Yeah. So now when you shake hands with him, it's kind of like when two guys, the second guy's dating the first guy's old girlfriend. It's like, hey, buddy, how's it going? It's not like that at all? Well, I felt like that was our championship to win. I felt like that was our ring. I didn't feel like I was stealing his ring. Okay, good. He already had one. Yeah, he already had one. What was your favorite, now it's been 4 years. 4 years. When you look back, I'm sure it's like a big blur. Do you have one memory where you're like, oh, I'm always going to remember that moment? Well, I always remember having my son on the trophy stand, my son Balin, who was one-year-old at the time, so he was our only son. Now we have 3. Right. And he is 5, so 5, 3, and 18 months now. But, having Balin on the trophy stand and really just sharing that moment with him and thinking that, man, that was our moment, and just kind of frozen in time. It's like we were the only 2 people on Earth. And then, now that's become somewhat of an iconic picture. I see it everywhere, and there was a lot of people watching at the time, which didn't realize, but it was on national television. There's 100 million people watching at the time, but it's that was a really, really special moment, one that I'll remember forever. Well, I have kids too, and odds are Balin doesn't remember this because he was 1. Because he was 1, yeah. So now you have to win another with it, because he'll actually remember. Now that he's 5, oh yeah, no they doubt. Can actually remember stuff once they're like 4. Well, now he'll try to hold the trophy and try to do all that other stuff, but no, it's funny because he'll see pictures of it and he'll like, that was me. Yeah. So now, I mean, he recognized it. At the time, he had his earphones on, and he was just looking at the confetti, just like, hey, this is cool. Did you honestly feel during that 4 or 5 week stretch, you were like, we're the best team, this is happening? Because you guys, even in the Super Bowl, I think you were 6-point underdogs. Yeah, and we got down 10 early, in the first quarter. There's that confidence of, hey, no doubt, and if we just play our best game, then we're going to win this thing. Keep plugging away. You feel like destiny. You feel like it's kind of like divine intervention, like this is our time, and it's going to happen. And, man, it's amazing when a team kind of seizes that and just goes with it. And I felt like we were that team. Yeah, because I feel like Seattle and Denver probably both feel that way, which is rare for a Super Bowl. Yeah. No. Denver from week 1 when you threw the 7 touchdowns, it's felt like it was their year. Yeah, but Seattle's just beating every challenger. Anytime you have the 1 seeds, Seattle was a 1 seed, Denver's a 1 seed. So, in essence, the favorites. These were the favorites. These are the ones that everybody assumed. Yeah. During the latter part of the season, were going to be the teams to meet up, and plus the fact that they didn't play during the regular season. They're obviously they haven't played. Even with Peyton Manning at the helm of the Broncos, Russell Wilson at the helm of Seahawks, there's typically, for example, when I played Peyton in the Super Bowl, my team had played his team a few times prior to that, when he was the quarterback, and so it's not like our teams were playing each other for the first time with us being the quarterbacks, but that is the case this time around, so I don't know when's the last time Peyton has played the Seattle Seahawks or that regime and vice versa. Let's get super nerdy for 20 seconds. All right. So, Seattle's cover 3. Nice. People are saying they have all these defensive backs out there trying to mix things up, confuse Manning a little bit, rush with 4 guys, and they can usually get pressure with the 4 guys. Yeah. Make Manning throw over the top to beat them. Would be my guess is their strategy. Would you agree with that? Okay. I'd say the way that they play their coverages, it's typically a lot of bump and run outside, so it's, they just kind of lock it down man to man, and then they play zone inside, so it's just they're kind of dropping the spots and they have their eyes on the quarterback, and they definitely rely on that pass rush to get after the quarterback, to make the quarterback have to get rid of it before the play is developed and maybe before guys are open. And anytime that happens, usually that can result in mistakes. I mean, that's what they've been able to cash in on throughout this year. I think Seattle leads the league in getting turnovers. A lot of those have been interceptions, just because they've got kind of a ball hawk secondary that's always in and around the ball and got great ball skills. So I would say that you really got some interesting matchups, because I'd say that every person in that secondary for Seattle is very talented. And I'd say every skill position player for Denver is very talented. Right. Decker and Demaryius Thomas as the wide receivers. Julius Thomas, tight end, which, might be a matchup they could utilize. And then Wes Welker, obviously, he's kind of the wild card. They can move him around so many places. He's, just on a lot of option routes inside that allow him, the ability to get open and work. And him and Peyton Manning have a great rapport. So, I think both sides are going to make some plays in this game. It's really going to come down to the turnover battle. If Seattle's able to create some turnovers, get some field position and momentum and opportunities for their offense, Seattle's offense has done a great job of cashing in on those opportunities this year and has been a big part of their success.
So I was talking to Kaepernick about this yesterday, and I think you're a really good example. You fit two theories that I have with quarterbacks. One is that you were passed over a little bit. You almost had to keep proving yourself, which I think is really important. Like you fell to the second round, right? First pick.
Yep, first pick, second round.
Then you become a free agent. Miami's about to sign you. They don't like something they see in the physical. You end up in New Orleans. San Diego lets you go. They draft Phil Rivers. Now you have to prove yourself all over again. So you got that. Then the other thing about you, I always feel like quarterbacks, I said yesterday, I don't know if the percentages are right, but I think it's 25% talent and 75% everything else, like charisma, smarts, leadership, confidence, just being a cool customer and all that stuff. What would you say the ratio is for that position? Because we've seen a lot of talented guys come in and they just couldn't do it. So it can't be all talent.
Right. That was actually a great assessment. You say 25-75. I mean, you obviously have to have some level of arm talent.
Right, but you wouldn't be in the league if you didn't have
right,
that.
Right, exactly. There's plenty of guys that came in here, though, with very kind of average arm strength, I'd say, and yet their ability to anticipate the throws, have trust in where they're going. Trust and anticipation equal accuracy. You got to be an accurate quarterback to be successful in this league. But I would say that it's at least 75% and maybe even a little more in regards to the intangibles, so to speak. So the leadership ability, the heart, the drive, the passion, your ability to overcome. Because the greatest trait a quarterback can have is a short-term memory.
Right.
And that is, you take what just happened, good or bad, and you put it aside and you move on to the next play. You certainly don't want the play before to influence the next play in a negative way. And you always got to be ready to make that play to, win the game. So I think your assessment was right on. 25-75 seems good.
Maybe 30-70?
No, I would say the intangibles maybe go a little bit higher, so 80-20. But I think 25-75 is pretty good.
Because there's got to be moments when you're on, you're on the road, loud crowd, you're in the huddle, you see your dudes, maybe they're a little doubt in their eyes. Like, if you have that doubt too, I think it's over.
Oh, yeah, you can't have doubt. No, you cannot have doubt, because everybody's going to look at you in the huddle and draw from that, that confidence that, man, we can do this. So you got to be the calm hand that steers the ship. And the fact we're on a cruise ship,
we've actually had a ship.
They've got to look at you and say, man, this guy's in command. If we follow this guy, we're going to be okay.
Right.
And so you instill confidence in them.
Do you ever think about the Miami versus New Orleans thing?
No.
It's kind of water under the bridge at this point. An amazing fork in the road for you.
I talked to a radio station from Miami this year, and they're like, man, we've lost out on you like 3 times, and it's all our fault. Because the funny thing was they were supposed to draft me back in 2001 when I first came out.
Right.
In fact, they had come down and told me, if you're there in the first round with the 26th pick or whatever it was, we are going to take you. I'm like,
I hate those stories. Then you're watching.
So then it rolls up right to me. All right, here we go. I'm going to be a Dolphin, and with the 26th pick, they pick somebody else. And you're like, oh, okay. But it all worked out the way it was supposed to. Free agency, go down there. Didn't have the experience there was I just felt like I was being poked and prodded, and they were looking for a reason not to like me. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I go to New Orleans and it's like, we know your shoulder's messed up right now, but we know you're going to come back better than ever, and you're our guy, and you're going to lead this team, and you're going to help lead this recovery effort. And so I just felt like, man, these guys believe in me as much as I do in myself.
And you helped save 2 teams, because I don't think the NBA team stays either, if your team. I mean, I really feel like that's all tied together.
That's an interesting perspective. New Orleans, I was amazed at how loyal a fan base they had, especially with all they've been through. Incredible. Certainly the post-Katrina and the bond that was formed there, I think, was a huge part of that. But I would say that the basketball team has kind of, I don't know, it's all been kind of linked together. Totally. It's all, it's just kind of part of the New Orleans spirit, so to speak. And but yeah, that's unique that you said that. I would agree with that.
Let's talk about Xbox for a second.
Yeah.
So tell us about the app.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Xbox One has really changed the game with this app, the Face-Off app, and really what it does is it allows fans to create a page where they are able to obviously track their favorite teams, favorite games, but also their fantasy stats. Obviously, fantasy football is a huge part of what people do now. And also make predictions on what's going to happen during this regular season playoffs and now Super Bowl. And the cool thing is by doing that, they'll have an opportunity to win tickets to next year's Super Bowl, which is down in Glendale, Arizona. But they can track this on their Xbox One console or on their Surface tablet when they're on the go. But it's a great app and a great opportunity for fans to stay as engaged, as involved as they ever have been before.
I just got the Xbox One. It's an impressive piece of
machinery.
Yes, it is. You mentioned the Super Bowls in Glendale. I don't know if I want to go back because that's where my Pats, the helmet catch.
Ah, true.
19-0, everything got snatched away. I might skip that one, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I know you got to do stuff. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for
coming out our little cruise ship.
Yes.
Good luck next season. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
From Drew Brees, who lost to the Seahawks, to one of the big winners of Super Bowl week and the weekend. You don't get mentioned a lot.
Yeah, I was.
People talk about Russell
was a big
Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, but Joel McHale.
Oh God.
Seahawks fan. This is big.
It is. Yes, I'm pretty. It's hard for me to enjoy the games because I get very tense during them and very into it. And I mean, I enjoy it. It's the same way like you enjoy driving a car 200 miles an hour.
Right.
And but it's really it gets tense, and I'm way over invested.
And you have you haven't had a title since forever.
We haven't. We were in the NFC West game, 1985?
Right.
With Ted Craig, and then, of course, there was that Super Bowl in 2006.
They cheated.
They didn't cheat. That one official came forward and was like, "I felt so bad."
Right. Oh, thanks, buddy.
Unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
That I mean, not that. I mean, I know that. I mean, yes, the Steelers played a great game. I'm not at all taking away, but
they
it was
didn't really play a great game, though. It wasn't a great game. Look, it was a winnable game.
You're the sports
You should be madder about this.
I can't be mad at the Steelers. I'm going to be mad at the officiating.
You should be mad at the officiating.
Is it unprecedented that an official has done that? Has written a letter, like, I got to get something off my chest. I blew a lot of calls. Has that ever happened before?
At least he feels better.
I'm sure.
It doesn't really help the Super Bowl. And then the other thing, obviously, is your basketball team got just stolen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just stolen from the city.
Right, yes, but the thing is, Oklahoma City is not doing well, and they don't have any real great players.
Oh,
wait.
No.
They're doing great.
They have the MVP.
Right, and they have Kevin Durant.
And they also
and he just he just went to Miami and beat them soundly.
And that could have been your dude. And he loved the 206, too.
He did.
He really did.
And now he loves
He made a point of saying over and over again how much he loved it there. It's a tough one. You'll get another team, though.
Win.
There's too much money at stake.
I agree.
Too many rich people who want it too badly.
They're going to build that stadium, and it's going to happen, I think.
Yeah.
When is LA going to get an NFL team?
I think Seattle gets an NBA team before LA gets an NFL team.
I think they'd have to do the same thing and build a stadium and just let it sit there.
But where does the stadium go? I've talked about this with a million people. I have no idea where the stadium goes. Nobody's been able to explain that to me.
Downtown Los Angeles?
You can't, like, they were saying, maybe put it next to Staples. Like, you can't put 80,000 people going downtown to L.A. It would be impossible.
How about a 10,000 person field?
Well, see, now you're talking my language.
See,
I think these football stadiums should be like 40,000 people.
Yeah, it'll just be sheer glass, no seats,
all
just
suites.
all suites. It'll look from the sky. It'll just be the shining glass structure, very quiet because it's all
just people in suits not watching the game,
just quietly sipping drinks, not looking at the game. Where these guys just have a great,
eating bacon scallop appetizers.
No, I don't know how, but obviously,
something actually happened with this yesterday.
With Seattle or with
with the LA thing.
Okay.
Remember that Hollywood Park track or whatever that's called? So they're like shutting it down and rebuilding.
That would be a
something.
perfect place to build it.
Yeah, so somebody bought all the land for like $95 million, and people think it was the Rams owner that bought the land. And that's like kind of the perfect place for the football because it's right near you get the highways.
That would be perfect.
You have a whole bunch of things.
It's so weird to say, like, as you said, like, well, where are you going to put a stadium in Los Angeles? The worst planned city of all time.
Well, that's the thing. People don't understand that.
Yeah.
There's traffic. I had a soccer game for my daughter last week in San Diego, and then she ended up staying over. I had to come back to fly for the Super Bowl. I left San Diego at like 9:30. I'm like, I'll be cruising on the 5. I was like, no. It's 11 o'clock. I'm sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic. I'm like, what time of day is there not traffic in L.A.?
There is no.
It's never. There's never a time.
In the morning.
So they'd have to put the stadium near highways, which makes me think this Inglewood thing is interesting. But I think for your situation, the guys that tried to get the Kings were willing to just dramatically overpay. Like they were like the dude who wanted to move into your neighborhood, and you're like, yeah, my house is worth $1 million. They're like, well, I'll give you 5.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I really don't want to leave that, so I'll give you 6.
It's like Bugsy. He just walked up to the guy and he's like, no, here's just $40,000 for your house. And he's like, wait, but I don't want to sell. I was like, okay, here's 50.
Right.
Back in the 20s.
I think they're going to eventually overpay. I don't think they're going to expand. So it's going to have to be a team that currently exists and is doing. A lot of people think Milwaukee.
Really?
A lot of people. That's the buzz. And Milwaukee's feeling the panic now, and they're talking about trying to build a new arena.
Well, that's what's going to happen every time now, though. Then they'll build a new arena, and it won't happen. It won't happen.
But that was why your team was used as a pawn in this giant chess game. Because now you are the cautionary tale of, well, here's what happens when you don't build an arena. We take your team and we move it somewhere else. So you have to do this.
Right. So we're the boogeyman.
You are.
Great.
Yeah. You're the extortion example.
And because Oklahoma City overpaid for the team, right? When it was the highest
at
price
the time they did, but now it's like everybody underpaid. Yeah. Like even the Sacramento, they paid $80 million more for Sacramento than Golden State got.
Wow.
But they probably underpaid for that because they're having this huge media deal coming up. They're all going to get $2 billion a year.
When you have an NBA team or an NFL team or any of these teams, it's a gem for your city in most situations. It's like having. I mean, it's such a great thing to have. So
plus, if you have a comb over and a trophy wife, it's a great thing to have.
Oh my gosh.
It's a great thing. You sit courtside. You just
so
pull
are you
your
saying
hair
if I started
over.
doing the comb over because my wife's hot, and I would eventually acquire a team?
Much balder. I would put on some weight. I would
this is gonna be
maybe
fun.
have some surgeries.
Okay.
To have your face look a little tighter.
Thank you.
Do that.
How saggy is it at this point?
No, I'm just saying, make it nice and.
You're right. All right.
Nice and rubbery, and then you're ready to roll.
Who do you think is going to
start wearing leather jackets in public?
Oh, this is
no matter what the weather is, I would do that.
Have you? You know when you go to those Laker games and you sit? I've been very privileged and just. Wow.
That's all right.
I had a real problem. I ate a lot of sushi the last game that I went. The amount of dollars spent on crappy jewelry and bad clothes is stunning.
Yeah.
And you go like, wow, rich people do not have taste necessarily.
Yeah. I like when the people just show up wearing jogging pants. Jacoby and I call it when you're pajama rich. When you show up at a sporting event in pajamas. You're like, I'm not even wearing clothes. I'm just wearing this.
But that is a conscious decision.
Right.
That's the same decision as wearing a suit.
Oh, you think you're making
Oh, they are
a point.
doing it fully on purpose it's that when you hear people saying, like, I don't care what I wear, and they wear the same, it's like, no, you very much care what you wear. You are trying hard to be the opposite of other people, so you're wearing that. Because if you really didn't care, then you'd wear this shirt that says, I'm wearing a banana hammock, or I'm going to wear like a mesh tank top, because I really don't care. Because those people who try not to dress up really care.
Right.
Deeply.
I like that you had to make a point of saying, just not saying I've had good seats at a Laker game because I'm a celebrity. But you're like, I've been privileged in my life to maybe stumble into some tickets once upon a time because of some good fortune.
Yeah.
It's funny how a lot of people do that, though. A lot of people you're a famous person.
God bless you.
But
I mean, I'm the
people
most
are-
famous person in this floating comedy club. No offense to
And
you.
headliners.
I know Grant Land's doing great. I mean, but look at this audience.
We didn't even know we were going to have an audience. We didn't promote it. Just people are trickling in. They're walking around eating free food. They saw two people talking.
And they're like, huh, I'm tired of standing. There's a lot of wood chairs in there that I can sit on.
But at what
What are
point?
these two white people doing up on here?
At what point did you go from I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to do well, I'm just trying to have happen to me to, oh, I'm doing well, and now I'm like, if I want to go to a Laker game, I have good seats, but I feel guilty and I don't want to seem like I'm too happy about this, but it's
Well, that
happening.
all got started with my father, who's from the south side of Chicago, who would always say, like, not bad for white trash. He would say stuff like that, and he still says stuff like, what, $5 for a coffee? I'm going to f***ing burn this place down. And and being raised Catholic, I was beaten into submission early on to appreciate what you have, and at any moment it will be taken away. So
and feel guilty as it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been able to get over the guilt part, but there were certain markers in my career where there were just the little things that happened where, like, I used to listen to Loveline all the time, like in high school and college in Seattle, and then when I was invited to be a guest on it, I was like, I've made it. I have arrived. I have gotten to where I did not imagine this. Or
And then
when,
Corolla didn't let you talk the entire time.
but he had left, so it was like, so I was like, oh well, But then being on his podcast, but being on his radio show when it was on,
then he didn't let you talk the entire time.
He'd be like, Joe, listen, go ahead, show us your clips, Joe. All right, hey, I want to say one thing about redheads, all right? And then
28 minutes later.
But I was like, most comedians wish they could write that 28 minutes that just came off the top of his head.
He's an ad-libber.
He speaks in punchlines. He is and master mechanic. And then when I was asked to be on...
You're a masturbator.
Aren't we all?
Well, it's
right
self-admitted.
Now, in this...
self-admitted.
But when I was asked to be on Sesame Street, I was like, this is like... Speaking of... but this was... I was like, this is a very distinct marker in my career that I've gotten to a point where I'm asked to be on Sesame Street.
Right.
That was astonishing. So I was like, but I don't know. I don't know when but going to like Laker games and things, when you begin to take those things, because you get offered tickets for, as soon as you can afford things, it's now free. It's the dumbest system and most wonderful that's ever been invented. But
you should go retroactively back in time and give yourself the free tickets.
Or be like, I wish I could afford that sweater. And now people send me them for free. They're like, take the sweater. Please wear it. We hope you do. Thanks.
Have it.
Here, thank you for... And I was just like, this is so ridiculous and dumb.
So you're on the show Community.
Yes.
That has one of the most interesting relationships with the internet.
Yeah.
I would say top 5. What are the top 5 interesting relationship internet shows? Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Community.
Something to do with porn.
Parks and Recreation. Mad Men.
Mm-hmm.
And The Wire.
Maybe Robot Chicken.
You're in that group.
We feel very fortunate because the fans are very strong and
very strong,
very loyal.
Have opinions.
Yeah. And when I meet people, pretty much nobody. When I meet people on the street, like pretty much nobody everyone over 35 says, "Hey, love the soup," and then anyone under 25 says they love Community. It's
it's like an age range cutoff.
It's a total cutoff. So the people between 25 and 35, it's a crapshoot.
So your creator left. Then
Yes.
last year people weren't happy with the season. Then your creator came back, Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
And now people are happy again. It was
Because
a little
the
bit of a
show
roller coaster ride.
Oh, it was a real roller coaster
To say the
ride.
least.
I mean, yes, these are all first world great problems to have, to be in a creative struggle over something. I mean, we're not in Syria, but yes, at the time, being there day to day, it was definitely a different vibe, and him being let go was not a great move, I don't think, and having him back restored the show, and I think gives us a real shot at going more seasons and doing a movie, because he's
a movie.
Well, the big hashtag that's always gone around is 6 seasons in a movie, because there was an episode where my character and Danny Pudi's character Abed, we had this massive argument about the show The Cape. Do you remember the show The Cape, folks? Nope. Okay, The Cape was on NBC, and it was about a guy with a magical cape.
Thanks for engaging our 10-person audience, by the way. I appreciate that.
They've had so much Bud Light at this point. They're so drunk they can't stand it, but they know they have to pee. So there's a lot of decision making going on right now.
This guy started out with 2 beers because he's like, I'm not getting up.
No, he doesn't need to.
2 right away.
And he's the Bud Light Lime, which, because at one point in your life you're like, this is difficult cutting up a lime and putting it in my beer. I want the lime to already be in there. I want it to be infused, and then I want that lime on the bottle so I know exactly what I'm drinking. See? There it is. Does it taste like lime? Yeah. See? That's what you call product placement.
He's gonna. If we can get him through 2 of those.
Have you tried the Xbox One?
No, let's do a quick product placement before we keep going on this community thing. Almost like a cliffhanger, like a commercial even.
Oh, well, let me just say, having Dan back, I don't know if you've seen any of the episodes. I don't expect you to, Bill. You're not.
I haven't seen any episodes from this season.
Oh.
But here's what I do with all TV now, is I binge watch.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very happy.
I have to be on the road
do you
for
do that with drugs?
Huh? No, thank God.
You should try it.
I'm on the road for 5 weeks with nothing to do, so I'm hoarding all these shows. I have Masters of Sex and.
Do you like it?
No, I've never watched it. I'm just saving it.
I liked it this year.
I have to read.
Not enough sex.
I have to read a bump.
Oh yeah, can I read it?
Well, no, Cho wrote it and he kind of half-assed it.
Hanging out at the Xbox One Hotel, Bud Light Hotel.
Right.
Sorry. An entire cruise ship on the Hudson. Bud Light has taken over the ship.
The Intrepid, it's what it's called.
The Intrepid. They've killed the crew. What? And built a huge concert venue. It's Bud Light concert night this evening featuring Walk the Moon. You a big fan of Walk the Moon?
And Imagine Dragons.
And Imagine Dragons.
That's a real band.
Oh, what are you saying about Walk the Moon?
I don't know anything about Walk the Moon.
Sorry, Walk the Moon. Bill Simmons hates you.
No, I like Imagine Dragons.
They did a nice job with at the Grammys with they did that.
That was excellent with Kendrick Lamar. I was talking about that last night with somebody.
I would like to have
that was fantastic.
Song.
It was really good. Watch the live stream tonight of these great bands, Walk the Moon and Imagine Dragons, 9 p.m. ET on the Bud Light YouTube page. Or eonline.com. Check out budlighthotel.com for more details.
Or play Xbox One.
Let's do the Xbox One promo now, and then we're done.
No.
Xbox One.
Xbox One, yes. No, I'm joking, but yeah, they are. The reason why I'm here is because of them. So, meaning, my mom had sex with an Xbox. And I'm like a robot. Part game console.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
You weren't going to bring it up?
No, I wasn't.
I'm happy. I air all my laundry here on sports podcasts.
So you're happy with this community season? It sounds like.
It was pretty frustrating last year. I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's what you call professionalism. I'm okay. No, sorry. So yes, so last year was hard in relatively, but it was the scripts were definitely not as good. Jim Rash, I thought, wrote a really great one, but it was a difficult year because we didn't have the leader who saw the vision of the show, which is Dan, and to get him back was huge. And
that's pretty weird to have somebody create a show out of his head and all the characters in it and all the ideas and plots and everything.
Well,
and then think you could say, all right, we're just going to change that guy.
But it's happened before. I mean, it happened on...
Your show particularly, though, was like kind of out of his brain almost. And then you tweaking different things and then...
It's definitely...
Whatever.
It was like someone going to J.R.R. Tolkien. He's like, no, we'll write the last Lord of the Rings book. Don't worry.
Yeah, we got
Or write
this.
the middle book and be like, well, we kind of need J.R.R. here.
Right.
They're like, no, we got it. We got this... she wrote Rage of Angels, Sidney Sheldon. She'll be great. But no, now that he's back, it was like, the air had been, like we started breathing. It was like after the first table read, we were just like, thank God.
Is he a little less crazy this time around? What's the deal?
Well, I think the system that he's worked out works. I think, I can't say. I don't know. I'm not in the writers' rooms, but I know that it now works well.
Good.
And that because it comes out of Dan and the writers are there really supporting him and obviously pitching great jokes. And there's this guy named Chris McKenna who's there, who's a prince and kind of Dan's right-hand man and also has impeccable taste and a great writer. So I hear it goes well. And we still have kind of one episode left. We're doing a fully animated G.I. Joe episode.
Really?
You know, like the cartoons from the 80s.
Yeah.
So they're making it now.
We ran an awesome feature about him by Alex Papademos, who spent a lot of time with him.
Oh, yeah?
Between...
With the G.I. Joe
First
guy?
time, second time. No, with Dan Harmon.
Okay. And how'd it go?
Well, it was one of the best things I think we've run, and you read it, and you just felt like this was a guy who was flying by the seat of his pants, and you didn't kind of know how it was going to turn out. It seems like he's ready to ship.
I think, and I think we all kind of were like, we knew it wasn't over, or it shouldn't be over, and given that task of let's get back what we had, which because we lost some of the support of the internet, we definitely lost critical support, but Dan doesn't really care about it. He wants the show to be great, and so, geez, you guys, I can't believe you've been doing this for this many years.
What is that? That's not us, is it?
No, it's the high school AV club that's loaned you the equipment.
No,
I'm kidding, sir. You're doing a great job.
It's coming from above us.
We literally are blaming the boat. That's Dave Grohl doing a sound check, and he's like, "Nah, sorry, I don't care, man." But anyway, it's the show is like we're doing a Logan's Run parody coming up. Vince Gilligan is on the show. Mitch Hurwitz is on the show. I mean, these are the show. Vince Gilligan's the showrunner and creator of a little show called Breaking Bad, and so and then of course
things are going too well for him.
For Vince Gilligan?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be found in bed with somebody covered in blood or something. Like it's too good of a run. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah, but he would find a way to make that like kind of a nice thing. They'd be like,
turn it into a positive.
She was asking for it. No, when you're as genius as he is, and then you're as nice as he is.
Yeah.
Usually good things happen.
I was reading, it was like Hollywood Reporter, Vanity Fair. I think it was Hollywood Reporter, and they asked all these different people who ran networks.
Shows.
And it was like those things where they asked the same question. It was actually kind of relatively interesting. And one of the things was, which person do you want to work with? And like 7 of the 9 people said Vince Gilligan. And all of them were like, Vince Gilligan, he's amazing. Vince Gilligan, nicest guy in the show business.
Yeah.
And it's just he seems like he's number one in any most popular behind-the-scenes dude power rankings.
Well, it's also when you have these guys like Dan or Mitch Hurwitz or these guys that create their own shows, and the show is in their brain, and it's not written by a committee. It's really the story's being told by them. Some of them get reputations of being jerks and things like that because they are so protective of their product. And then you see the product on screen, and then you go, well, were they really a jerk, or was it executives that were trying to, or were just bugging the hell out of them?
I make this argument to ESPN executives all the time.
Really?
About my own stuff.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
No, but it happens all the time.
I feel a little kinship with what you
well,
just
there's in Hollywood, because it's commerce, it's business.
Yeah.
And if the person is creative and doing their job the way they should, then all of a sudden that eliminates notes, or it should eliminate notes from executive, but then they don't feel like they have anything to do, so they have to give notes. And
I'm glad you brought this up. I've talked about this before on the podcast, but it's one of my favorite subjects. If you look at the most popular, successful, like just the best shows that people like, it's always one person or two people.
Yeah.
It's never like, you never hear the guy like David Simon like, you know, I never could figure out The Wire, but thank God for those 12 people who gave me notes every week, because those really helped the show fall into place.
I don't know what I would have done.
The consensus of trying to figure out which are the right notes out of the 12 people and 8 versus 4, it's always one person. It's always their vision, and people don't f*** with it.
Yeah. Early on, that's early, and this is a microcosm, but like early on with the Soup, we would get joke notes from this one executive, and I'd be like, "Have you ever written a joke?
Right.
Have you ever hosted a show? Have you ever done any of this?" Because if I don't walk up to a Ferrari mechanic, well, that's really a compliment, but I don't walk up to any sort of mechanic and go, I don't think that goes there.
Right.
And he's like, clearly it does because you've been doing it. And then that executive's gone.
Yeah.
Meaning she was killed by an enormous sound pop
coming
from
though.
the ceiling.
They always are trying to figure out how to make shows better and what's wrong with Hollywood and what's wrong with movies and what's wrong. It really seems like there's just too many people involved.
Yeah, we are
Here's
in the
an idea.
golden age of television right now, and because a lot of people like Vince Gilligan and these guys have been allowed to do it, and now Dan really is doing the show without interference, and I think it's some of the best ever. And we are in an amazing time right now. Some of the best television.
So would you rather be in a great movie or a great television show?
Which would pay me more?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I guess you'd have to be the lead in the great movie.
Can I say both?
Yeah.
No.
I guess you could realistically do both, though.
I hope so. Yes. Which brings up a couple of movies on July 2nd.
Let's hear about them.
Oh, no. Well, on July 2nd, I'm in a movie called Deliver Us from Evil, starring Eric Bana. He's from Melbourne, and that's...
Deliver Us from Evil.
Yeah. It's
not a comedy?
It is not a comedy.
Okay. Horror movie?
Horror thriller. It was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and directed and written by Scott Derrickson, and we shot it in the Bronx for 2 months at night last summer. A
Bruckheimer movie that comes out right before July 4th. I'm guessing the studio has high hopes for this.
Nah, I don't think so.
You don't think they're not trying to bury that one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that I would say. Hopefully it will.
What would you say is the best movie you've been in? Because you've been in a few.
Well, no matter what I say now, then I...
They already happened. Who are you going to offend?
Well, I'm going to say right now, it's a tie.
That's already come out.
Well, they were completely different movies, but, Being in The Informant that was directed by Soderbergh I think that's a fantastic movie, and then fantastic, and to be a part of it was amazing. And then Ted, I think, is one of the funniest movies made.
I really like Ted.
I love Ted. I got the Ted doll for my kids, and out of the 11 things it says, 2 of them are really dirty. So I had to disable the voice of Ted.
The dirty shit.
Because it's like, give me a brew. I'm like, that's fine. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, put your head down there and bob up and down. I'm like, all right, yeah. I'm not going to be able to, my 8-year-old's going to be like, what does he mean?
That's when I felt like the McFarlane backlash was clearly just almost insurmountable for him. Because Ted was really funny. And that should have been everybody's conclusion. All right, that movie was funny. And instead it's like, well, it was funny, but not really because of these 7 reasons. Like, no, it was funny.
Obviously with Family Guy, I think that it's that thing where they go like, well, it was really raunchy, and they have,
raunchy.
Borat was really raunchy.
Yeah.
But it was just the perception.
The Hangover, the last 5 minutes of The Hangover was as raunchy as it gets.
Right. So I think it's unfairly pinned on him because he's one of the best. Also, he's just one of the standalone joke writers I've ever seen. And then I think the story of Ted is. The whole relationship between Mark Wahlberg and the bear. Really about growing. It's really about something. Kind of like with Anchorman too. That whole thing about cable news was I thought was people not noticing how kind of brilliant that little thing is. With keep the high-speed chase going. Don't go to real news.
Right.
And I thought that was I was like, this is kind of saying something pretty big or pretty deep. And I think that got glossed over. By the way, I love that movie.
How many romantic comedy scripts do you get where you're the lead guy who falls for the girl in the office who's 35 and doesn't have a husband yet because she works too hard, but now she's got
you have a much higher opinion of me than movie executives.
Really? I would be sending you those scripts all the time.
Please, I'll be in your romantic comedies, Bill. Definitely. What
about somebody who's trapped on a Super Bowl cruise ship who's a PR person or something, and then nobody can get off the ship, and she has to get somewhere, and then you help her, you work for the ship, and then all of a sudden you fall for each other.
What about if it was, I like that, but what if there was kind of a science fiction element where you walk into a comedy club on a cruise ship.
That makes weird noises?
And you're like, hey, that podcast, it was good, it was an hour, and then you walk out and 50 years has gone by. And you're like, what? We've only survived on 4 Bud Lights.
It's 2064.
Bud Light Limes. No, I get, I have my first kind of bona fide movie lead next Christmas in this. Robin Williams and I did a movie called A Friggin' Christmas Miracle, and that's kind of the first lead, real. So if that fails, then I will be back here trying to fix this sound problem that you have.
It's an up and down business.
Yeah, it is.
You're never out. You're never out.
No.
Ben Affleck was out, now he's in. You never know.
He is really in.
He's really in. He's all the way in.
He is literally Batman.
He's in.
Literally.
He's winning. He was out. He was a punchline.
Yeah.
Just never know.
I guess I need to get to the point where I'm a punchline?
No.
Oh.
I'm just saying you never know.
And then
you're always one movie away. Riggins from Friday Night Lights made a couple bombs. Everyone's like, he's not a movie star. Then he was a Lone Survivor. He's good.
Yeah.
Now people want to work with him again.
Isn't it so silly?
It's stupid.
Hold on, someone's at the door. Someone's at the comedy door.
We're up to 15, 16 people now for an unpromoted podcast.
Wow.
Along with a weird speaker system. Wait,
It's
so
a very white audience.
well,
We got one guy who's Asian, two guys that are Asian. That's it. It really shows your audience.
not a lot of women. Well, it's the cruise ship. Nobody knows I'm here.
This is
Wait,
like-
I have an important question for you from my mailbag
oh, let's. Oh,
that I answered myself, but I'm interested to know if your answer is different or the same. Somebody asked me if there was what is the worst trash talking insult one person on one team could say to one person on the other team in this game that everybody would go like, whoa, but it would have something to do with the cities.
Oh,
And I was saying it was like some sort of Sonics joke that would enrage the fans. Somebody about like, we're going to take that Super Bowl from you, like Oklahoma City took the Sonics. I think all the Seattle fans were like, whoa.
What sport are they?
Doesn't matter, for football, for this weekend.
So if there's like a Bronco on, they're about to go at it.
I'll rephrase. What trash talk insult would hurt you the most?
Oh, if some
Bronco fan like Champ Bailey said something and it came out.
If he was like, you're bad at football.
That would.
Oh,
that would
I'd probably start crying. I'd be like, shut up.
Why'd you say
You're
that?
so
Champ
bad
Bailey?
at football. You're
Why,
bad.
Champ Bailey?
You're
Why?
dumb and you're bad at football. That would hurt.
Isn't the Sonics though like the ultimate little sore spot for the Seattle fans, or is there something else? Because every city has a sore spot.
Yeah, but it would be a weird thing if he's like, yeah, you guys sold your NBA team. Oh, I mean, it'd be a weird.
I mean, like in the press conference after or something. Bad question. We should just delete this question from the podcast.
No, I don't feel like they do that. I feel like they. Obviously, Richard Sherman and Crabtree had.
It's much more personal and easy.
Something was being said there that was.
You know my theory with that. I always feel like when two athletes are that angry with each other, there always has to have been a girl in the background at some point in their lives.
I will tell you when I played a lot of basketball and I played on the JCC team in high school before I played for the high school. I'm not kidding. So I played on the Jewish League team, and as you can see. It was a great team, and it really was. We were good, and so the JCC. So we're on the team, and I'm, as you can see, Orthodox Jewish. You can tell that Norwegian, Irish, Jewish, and so we played a Catholic team, and this kid goes, try to get by me with you and your circumcised dick. And I was just like, what
that's excellent.
What the hell? And I think I was like, you're circumcised, asshole. I mean, I was just like, what? I'm being taunted by a Catholic over circumcision. It was like the weirdest.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never heard of a circumcision sports insult before.
Yeah, and I was like, Dad, you're not going to believe what I heard on the court today. And I said that, and my dad went crazy. He was so mad. He got so, because my dad was raised Catholic, and he was so mad that he called. It was one of those things like, Dad, don't. And he's like, he called the church. Like, I didn't know what. I was like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, what are they? Who? Where? Saint what? Saint, which saint? And he called them, and he was so mad. Because he was so offended that they. I mean, and rightfully so. But it was such a weird, like.
Well, speaking of circumcision, the Seahawks this weekend.
Oh yes, they're getting circumcised today, right? That's the annual football tradition.
You're 2.5-point underdogs.
Right.
I thought you were going to be favored.
Well, I think 2.5 points is just it's still a toss up to me. It's just when people are like 2.5 points, it's kind of going. It's neither here nor there almost. To me,
very rarely do you see a team win by less than a field goal.
Yeah, so
the 1 or 2
as I
points.
predicted, the score is going to be 4-2.
4-2.
It's going to be a lot.
3 safeties.
Lot of safeties.
Wow. Some run of safeties.
A lot of safeties. It's weird. But so I see that, and I think that is. I mean, it goes to that Peyton Manning has won a Super Bowl, and he's obviously one of the best quarterbacks that's ever been on the planet. And I feel like that, and obviously their offense is dynamite. So that, I mean, I always, so that, I mean, that makes sense to me, but I still always feel there's a bias against West Coast teams, or at least Seattle, for the longest time, where we were not taken seriously, even when we were in the Super Bowl. I remember when we were in the Super Bowl, I remember it was like the Saturday, the day before, and there was an entire article on Ben Roethlisberger's beard, and whether he was going to shave it or not, or something like that. And I was like, would they talk about the Seahawks at some point?
Cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, it was great. But
do you think the media is afraid of Seattle because of all the serial killers that have come out of there? Is that
They
a
should be
possibility?
intimidated.
It's been a lot. It's been like 50%.
Did you guys know that most of the serial killers operated up there?
It's like 50%.
Most prolific one in America was Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer.
Green River.
Yeah, he made Ted Bundy look like a.
But Ted Bundy
amateur.
came out of there too, kind of.
Yeah, he nabbed a woman at the sorority that my wife, went to years after.
Oh, years later.
But still, it was like, here's
Jesus.
the exact point in the alley where he picked her up. But that was like a bit creepy.
I think for the Seahawks, there's a little bit of nobody believed in us.
I agree.
That they had this awesome season. They're underdogs.
16-3,
Peyton Manning coronation.
And I think people think, they're not playing at home, so they're not going to be as good. And I think there's something of that. And we're 16-3, so hey, it's pretty good. And I think they're just. It's one of those things where you have to prove yourself before. It's not that. I mean, this is all.
You're going to the game, right?
Yes, I am. I'm gonna be on the field, fully padded. Yeah, not with football pads.
You talk about this all the time,
pads.
but you did play football.
Not well, but yeah.
But in college, you played.
Yes, not well. It was.
Anyone who plays college and football in college played football well at some point in their life.
I like to say that I kept up and wasn't killed. No one ripped their. I made the defense look terrific because I was always on the scout offense, and we were always running the other team's plays, and they must have felt very confident when they were tackling me.
Did you ever turn it into a flag football career or anything after?
No,
nothing.
I turned it into an acting career.
Just totally gave up.
I really wasn't interested in flag football.
That's it. You were just done.
I was just that was it. I really, really enjoyed it, and it was very, it was every day was pretty crazy out there with all these big guys trying to kill you. And I was behind two of the best tight ends. I was behind Mark Bruner, who was the captain of the Steelers for many years, and a tremendous player that went to the Texans, and then Ernie Conwell, who run a ring with the Rams, and he and Napoleon Kaufman were the scariest athletes I'd ever seen.
Right.
He was 21 years old. He was about 50 pounds. He could bench 420, and he was cleaning and jerking 360, and he was squatting 1,000 and running a 4.4 40-yard dash. And
Jesus.
he was a monster.
And just good at everything, right? Like they play basketball, he's good at that.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Napoleon Kaufman was the same way. I watched him run a 40-yard dash in 4.2, which beat everybody on the track team. I mean,
wow.
4.2. He was tiny. He was a tiny little guy, and he was benching 400. And I was like, oh, these are professional athletes. I am bait out here. I am just fodder.
Right.
So I had a really good time, and I was not attractive at that point. I had a lot more weight on me, but now, as you can see, but it was really fun.
Any concussions?
I have had 7 concussions and a skull fracture, and I'm not joking. And none of them were football related. Can you believe that? I know it's odd. The list of concussions that I've had. I got fractured my skull skiing, which I don't recall. But I stood up and was talking, and I was if I hadn't been with a friend, I would have. He said I started talking really, really weird. And I thought it was a very sunny day, and I thought it was a dark, cloudy day. And he said I just started talking. Nothing I was saying was making sense, and he skied me to the little ski hospital. But it was that thing. I was like, oh, I guess that's what happens to soldiers when they get hit in the head and they just wander off.
Right.
And that's what would have happened. It would have been great. I was 15. But other than that.
So after you get that first one, it's much easier to get them.
No, that was the last one.
Well, that was the last one?
Yeah, that was the second to last one. No, I had 3 when I was a kid. It was a power outage. We were in socks. My brothers and I were playing tag around a table. I slipped and I hit the corner of a fireplace, a brick fireplace, and tore my head open. And then the ambulance had to come because we couldn't get our cars out. And I remember, this is a distinct memory as a child. We went down, this doctor showed up at our little office in the town we lived in, and they wrapped a blanket around me with my hands behind my back, and they laid me down. And then my dad laid his body down on me and held my chin so this doctor could sew my head up as I screamed and screamed and screamed. But then I was thrilled because I got a ride home in a squad car. So that was, I think that was the first concussion. And then in preschool, 2 concussions.
So nowadays they never will let you play football.
They don't? They wouldn't?
I don't think so.
I just
You had
wouldn't
the
have told
concussion history? Or unless you lied about it.
I lied. Oh, yeah, they didn't even ask.
Yeah, because all the research now is like, yeah.
I
One
wonder...
before you're 15, you stop.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, great.
Well,
I wonder...
you turned out great, so maybe the research is wrong.
Yeah, but once in a while, I'll just lose all bowel control and not know where I am. Like once a day.
I hope it doesn't happen right now.
It may. No, it already happened. It happened at the. It's called the Bud Light stage, and so it made sense. No, I don't know how it will. It seemed like my brothers and I. Like my brother fell off a boat and got hit by the prop, and had 1,300 stitches in his arm, and he's fine. He's a rock climber.
1,300?
Yeah, his arm is.
Never heard of such a thing.
Oh yeah, his arm was a hamburger. We have a lot of injuries in our family.
Well, we're going to have to keep talking about
I didn't even tell you about the times I've broken my ankles, so multiple times.
Football?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Banged up. How old are you?
42.
Right,
42.
You still
My
seem like
liver?
you're in good shape.
86.
So, good luck with the Seahawks. I hope this happens for you in the 206. Well, I've been terrible all year, so I picked Denver to win because I want the Seahawks to win.
Okay, I see
I try to put my stink on Denver. Hopefully it works.
Right. Your thing will influence the
Well, you never know.
Game.
I think everybody should do their part.
Okay.
So I felt like I was doing my part. But I think you have a great chance.
Thanks.
I think my fear is that it's been Manning's year from basically the first minute of the season. He had 7 touchdowns in the first game, just going through just every step. It's almost like it's being scripted in a sports movie. That
So
would
you
be my
think
fear as
there
a
is a
Seattle
mysterious power at work?
It just seems like it's his year.
Writing a movie?
No, it just seems like it's his year.
Right.
That would be my fear if I'm Seattle. Like we're just the pawns in somebody else's year.
This is the exact same attitude you hear from everybody. And be like, it's destiny. Has to happen.
Well, we had Drew Brees on before you. He was talking about New Orleans in the Super Bowl. They were down 10, and all of them were like, it's our year. We're not going to lose. This is destiny. And they actually came back. And you hear this athlete say that, and you're like, can that be true? They really kind of weirdly feel that way sometimes.
Well, I think it's the confidence of the athletes executing the plays. It's not some sort of
mystical karma?
Magic book that the football god said, and this year shall be Peyton, and then he touched him, and he started to glow.
But we don't know that.
No, I know it.
We don't know it,
They stopped doing that in the 80s.
Do you believe in karma at a blackjack table?
No.
Do you play blackjack?
No, not really.
Oh,
I mean, I've played a lot of blackjack.
What am I talking to you about?
But I don't. No, all that superstitious stuff is all bull to me.
Okay.
So, no, because here's why. Thank you.
We'll see.
All right. Do you know Phil Locke?
Who's Phil Locke?
The Unabomber. No, the card player, the Unabomber. He wears the hood and the glasses.
Yeah.
All right. So, talking to him about Hold'em, I was like, "How did you know you were good?" And he goes, "Oh, the first hand I was ever dealt, I knew I was good at cards." And I was like, "How did you know?" And he's like, "Well, I knew what everybody else had." And I went like, "Oh, that's why I'll never go to Vegas and try this game, because I don't have any of those instincts." And he was a math major from Amherst, so you can think about Carmen stuff, but they're just playing those averages. They all know exactly everybody. And then my friend sat with him, and Phil just goes, "Watch, I'm going to play the next 4 hands without looking at my cards." And he would get the cards, pretend to look at them, and he won 2 out of the 4 hands.
So when my dad sat in the same seat during all 3 Patriot playoff games, and then it didn't work the 3rd time, probably it was a wasted energy.
Your dad just sucks at it.
Right, he's bad at influencing karma.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Joe McHale.
Thank you for having me. I
Community.
talked a lot. Community.
You're done filming it except for 1 episode.
Thursday nights at 8 o'clock on NBC, and The Soup.
And The Soup.
Wednesdays at 10 o'clock on
I love that you still do The Soup. That you didn't do the thing where you're like,
Well, it wasn't. It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
People should do things they're good at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
You know
it's a
what?
weird, wacky theory.
It's this sort of wisdom that you give everybody.
I try.
People should do what
do
they're
my
good
best.
at.
It's a lot of people
Unless
don't.
it's murdering.
Well, people sometimes they do things for a couple years and they go, "Well, I know I'm good at that. I'm going to try this."
Right.
And then they stop doing the other thing.
Yeah.
That's when it gets dangerous.
I agree.
That's when you have comedy actors and musicals and weird things going on.
Yeah, that's why you look
Don't
at
do a musical.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in because NBC is now going to do Peter Pan, so I'm going to be in that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm playing Wendy.
Joe McHale, thank you. Good luck with the Seahawks, buddy.
Thank you, even though you don't think they're going to win. I mean, but you think they're going to win because you don't think they're going to win. That makes sense.
I hope they're going to win.
I think Aaron Andrews is up next.
I know. Thanks, buddy.
The beautiful Aaron Andrews is coming up, everybody. Looks way better than me. Yeah.
Target % off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Gotta say, Golick, great call on grabbing Subway for lunch and getting guacamole on our subs.
Told you this new guac really amps up the flavor.
Yep, something adding up things can be great. Guacamole on your sub, a new co-host to replace you.
What was that?
Oh, no, nothing.
Subway now has deliciously rich new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of garlic, onion, and jalapeno. Discover how new guacamole turns up the flavor on any of your freshly made favorites. Subway, eat fresh.